Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have a top 16 breakdown for the Zulu's webcam Winnabox tournament that I helped host this last night with Risu as well, who's on co-commentary, so super fun event. We had a big live stream for it, which also was with Russell at the beginning. We did a big playtesting session with Russell Lepar as well, the Luffy player I interviewed at Gen Con a couple weeks ago. So honestly, super great event, capped out at 64 players. The support for these are really great, and I'll probably have another one before set 4 drops as well. But I appreciate Zulus. Make sure to check them out. They also have some tournaments coming up in person. If you guys are in the Washington area, I recommend checking them out. And this is what we have for you guys again. So it was live streamed on my Twitch, which is linked in the description, as well as will be re-uploaded. The tournament section for it will be on there. If you guys want to see the play testing, that will probably stay on Twitch for that one with Russell. So anyways, going on into this video, we did have again 64 players, and honestly a pretty good diversity in this top cut. I will say that it wasn't, this is a not 100% super competitive in that sense. This is more of a community event, but this going 6-0 I think is very impressive for Noel on Zoro. And even looking at these top 16, we did have quite a healthy pie chart. Man, I really wish the pie charts that existed for larger regionals and treasure cups were kind of like this, but I digress from there. But we do have obviously a good amount of new yellow cards and black cards from the new star decks. 2 colors which I just felt needed more colors, more cards in general, just because they do have the smaller card pools, especially yellow. Yellow's got even just missing some vanillas at this point, but I do think it was really cool to see so many different decks top. And even if you look at the top 8, there's only one repeat in Zoro with first and third place. So we are going to talk about most of the decks for this one, some of the Zoros and some of the more repeats for it, but just to have 3 Zoros, 3 Newgates, 3 Katakuris, and then 2 Yamatos, a Croc, a Doffy, a Smoker, Kaido, and an Ace. And also, if you look at the breakdown too, there are 6 one-ofs, including the one-ofs of the Crocodile. The Doffy had more than 1 copy, but Smoker, only 1 player, 1 Smoker, 1 Kaido, and only 2 Aces. So having these all get into the top 16 is really good. And even most of these did end up in the top 8, so they went 5-1 for this event, which I think is fantastic. So we're going to talk about these decks. We're going to start off with our first place list. So this is Noel's, Lim's first place Zoro, and we're also going to just talk about Gabriel's as well, since they did end up going into the finals. It was the finals there, which is honestly a bit peculiar, because again, if you look at these 5-1s, there's a lot of diversity in there. But this is again Noel's list, and then the list here from Gabriel. So honestly pretty similar, both players on the Blameco, which again I first kind of been seeing more copies of it with Cross's finish on it, the Treasure Cup the last weekend for Carta Magica. So it's a new tech that I think people are using, and I think it's doing pretty well. Just the fact that you are able to use this to you usually do kind of have the Otamas and the Gordons to immediately get that minus 2k, but being able to have a 5k body with 1 Dawn underneath this and 1 underneath your leader means you can have 5k swing. And then not only can this be good for trading into bigger bodies, but you can swing in and then get stuff into the Fire Fist kind of range there. So that's the list there. Both were kind of on it. Only one for Gabriel, but also running the Haruta, which has been more popular, and the Martial Teach, which I think has been kind of falling out of favor a little bit. Hasn't been as popular lately, but is very strong. And also 4 whole copies of Fire Fist, which is the maximum, I suppose. I'm not sure if both playing it. I don't know if you need it at 4 copies. Sometimes they are, I guess, kind of stuck in hand, but luckily Fire Fist can pitch Fire Fist, so that's pretty good. And if you are using Blameco as well as the Otama there too. I still like Gordon in this list, but maybe just the Luffy list. But there we go. But how many events are running in this one? We've got 6, and then 13 events for there, and then we also have 11 here. So again, I think Cross played 15 in theirs, but closer. But yeah, really event heavy as we're getting into it. And there it is. There's not much more to say. Obviously, Zoro is very strong right now. Congrats to Noel for winning and Gabriel for getting X1 with it as well. Top 4. Very impressive. Next up, we do have Crocodile, which honestly, I've been seeing builds that have been looking like this more and more, and they are very tempting looking. We also do have one of the Trafalgar Law. This is a kind of an older promo, but on play, if your opponent has 6 or more cards in their hand, you add 1 of their life to their hand as well. So there are some decks that just kind of have these greedy large hand sizes. So if you play this on curve, this can actually just snipe a life sometimes, which is pretty good, and I think there's probably like sometimes like your opponent probably thinks that they're safe from getting attacked over, but this law can make a difference. So I do like it's just a one of ad, but I think that is kind of a cute little ad in general. It is also supernova. I mean, what can Sanji use Bonnie to find it? I don't know. That's probably too cheese, but we also do have just kind of the Impel Down package. So 3 copies of the Emporio, 3 copies of the Luffy, and then you can use this to get double attack, which is important I think in this deck as well. 2 copies of Gum Gum Rain, which I do really like in blue right now as well, and just kind of a lot of other usual targets. So Mr. 2, because it's a 2K Impel Down card. We also have the Soul King, which is neat. People have been playing it every once in a while. I think 2 is like the max copies people are playing right now. Zaf also, which is essentially just another copy of Soul King, which is really nice. I also do like the idea of Mist All Sunday, which you can use to get a Baroque's work. Our leaders is Baroque's work, so we can use it to add an event from our trash. So that just means 3,000 Worlds. It means Gum Gum Rain. It means Love Love Beam Soul. Those are very good. And just kind of the rest of it. So like this list, I probably need to test out Croc some more. I think it's been getting like slowly a little bit more popular and has been adjusting to the format. And that's kind of cool to see. So really do. I honestly like this deck a lot in the star deck format. And it kind of bummed me out that I couldn't really use it past then. So maybe we'll try using it again. All right. And then next up, we also have for blue. So also that was Mason's list here. And this is Adrian's list for Doffy. And this deck I think is more understood for where we're at. A lot of these ratios are pretty common. We know which ones are like the best of the 7 warlords. So obviously our blockers. The differences are based on like some 1-up drops. So if you're playing the blocker 1-drop or not, how many Jinbeis you can afford, if you want to run 3 or 2 Pacifistas, and then also the 2 Love Beam is the lowest I see. I like running like a 1-3-3 split between these event cards, and I think it does it is very strong in that regard. But I don't know. I do think you need to run this card because there are times where either you have like an extra copy of Mihawk stuck in your hand, or also Love Love Mellow just stuck in your hand too. But I don't know. Doffy's been, I'd say, rising in popularity, and I think some of the restriction list did kind of help this deck become a little bit more popular, which is neat in my opinion, and that is that. So congratulations to Adrian for their finish there. Next up we have Smoker. So this is RJ's list here, and I've been obviously I think Lucci's my preferred leader right now, but I have been trying some Smoker. We did get a couple of new cards in the star deck, but guess what? We don't need them for this deck. This one is running none of the new cards, which honestly, like there are like of that new deck, there are some cards I did want to try out and I thought were interesting, but there is also the fact that I think a lot of them are a little bit particular. I do like the 4-drop Kobe, which we can't put in this one, but pretty standard stuff for this, being able to just have like a bunch of 2Ks that are part of the Navy, including, how many are we running? We're running 10, 14? I think we're running 14 2Ks. That's a lot. That's a lot of 2Ks for this deck. Also Sengoku, which I don't think you play out at all. You think you just keep this one in your hand. Garp you can sometimes play and get some like early KO effects, especially with Smoker, which is kind of nice. So if they have a 1-drop, you can use the effect, which is cool. Tashigi, it's like sometimes you can play, but the rest of it, I don't know. I like what Smoker does. We will also have like 4 copies of Borsalino, 3 copies of Kuzan, and just kind of everything else. So Sakazuki can be in a good spot, and like just a whole bunch of removal for this. With Smoker effect too, these can pop 6Ks, 6 costs or less, which are fantastic. Isho at 3 copies, and then the Meteor Volcano Impact. So a lot of destruction for this one. Also running 4 copies of Hina, which I've been seeing getting a little bit more popular, at least at this event. The fact that it can potentially double block is solid. Costing 5 is a little expensive, but I think that's fine too. So anyways, this is the list for RJ. Congratulations for their 6th place finish there. I think it's top 8. I'm not sure if they were 5th or 6th, but top 8 for sure. Next up we have Alvarado's Newgate, and we don't have obviously too much difference for kind of how Newgate's been looking. I think obviously the straw beard is kind of the way. Running 5 blockers, which is more than I usually see. It's usually people playing like old copies of Foster, like a 2-2 split. The fact that this is a 2 cost means that at least for like black, you have a little bit harder time getting rid of it. But just having a 2K blocker is really nice for you. And just what we've been seeing in general. So no Marcos for this build, which is a little surprising. I do think Marco is pretty obnoxious, but King Do at the same time is pretty much the same. You just don't get like the 3k pop with it, and it's, once this gets KO'd, it gets KO'd, but I think that's fine too. And Thatch, man. Thatch on curve, if you're going second as Newgate, just wins you the game so many of the times. I feel like it's just unremovable for a lot of decks, and they have to deal with it, and if they don't, they just kind of lose. So anyways, this is a list there. Congratulations to Alvaro for their finish with Newgate. Next up, we have David's top 8 Kaido, and we haven't seen Kaido often in this meta. We didn't get a lot of generic purple cards, I think, in the set, and the new leader is just lackluster, I think is the best way to say it. It's really, really neat, and I do like playing it, but it's obviously not, I think, very super competitive. But this is a kind of unique build for Kaido too. It's I would say moderately greedy for what it does. The fact that we do have like this big top end of 2 copies of the 9-drop Kaido, as well as 3 copies of the 10-drop. We also do run the Douglas Bullet from the starter deck, so Dawn -4, rest up to 2 of your opponent's characters, cost 6 or lower characters, then this character gains double attack for the turn. So this can do like a really big punch. It is -4, but being able to play this on curve, I think, is intimidating to say the least. There's also, the purple cards we did get the Khalifa, which this isn't like terrible to play on curve. You do get like a draw 2, discard 1 if you play it on 4 Dawn, and it's just something to do there. But also the Gum Gum Jet Gatling, so being able to use this to, discard a dead card in hand, which is very often, I think, in this deck. And then also the trigger off of life is to gain a Dawn. So we technically have 5 cards that gain Dawn from our life, as well as the Hell's Judgment, which also unramps our opponent, as well as the Bracho Bomber, which you get to add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck as well. So you do have 6 cards from life that let you do that. We also have Onigashima, obviously, to help us get that additional ramp, which, when we have extra copies of it, it turns it into a 1k off the Gatling, which is great, and just kind of everything else with it. So looks like a really defensive build. You try to just, be early defensive, and we do have a lot of blockers. So 2 copies of Domino, 4 of the Higurashi, 2 copies of the Uta, as well as the Queen, 4 copies because you gotta run 4 of this, and you just kind of go from there. So I think this is an interesting build. I'll have to try it myself, and being able to be defensive, and obviously the active main for this card is kind of silly if you're able to play at the right time. But interesting build, and congratulations to David for their X1 finish with this one as well. Next up, we have our X2. So we have Duck with their Portuguese de Ace, which is really fun to see this deck activate. This is one of the kind of lists that we saw more than others on the stream as well. But one kind of big thing is that they do run the Striker, which did get kind of a lot of value. You are kind of rough to play this against red at times, because you do find that early aggression, and being able to just spend all that Dawn for hand advantage usually doesn't pan out for you. And then also if you play against yellow, they have a really amazing late game if they drop the 10-drop big bombs, at least in the Katakuri and Linlin leaders. So but there are some times where this is good at just finding additional pieces, being able to find your Fire Fist, your Flame Emperors, and everything else when you need to. It's fine. And also this lets you discard a card from your hand that's either an event or stage for it, so you can discard extra copies of it and kind of go from there. But Ace has been okay. I think it's been kind of recovering from the restriction list. You did lose a lot of cards, and some of these cards, I feel like this Marco should be kind of just restricted to Ace at times, just with kind of how the effect works and with the events. I don't know, it just feels like this card's just obnoxious for us. But I do like seeing people play Ace. You do get some good destruction, and the interaction that you have with all your event cards is kind of strong too. So not much more to say. Congratulations to Duck for their finish here. And then next we just kind of finished the video with the yellow deck. So we had 2 Katakuris finish right next to each other, and 2 of the star deck Yamato. So I did want to talk about both, even though they are pretty similar. So this is David's list, and this is Faisal's list here. And you see, again, yellow doesn't have an amazingly large card pool, so some cards are just going to have to be pretty similar. But some cards that we do see applied across the board are the Arrow, which I was really excited for this card to come out. Just a cheaper version of the Sovereignty, leaving 2 up, which is kind of tricky for a deck that like to play on tempo in general. So this is just kind of a better version of that, I think, in my mind. Having a guard point in archetype is great, because guard point is fantastic already as it is. Then we also do have the list here for Faisal, and not playing the with the Tamago, I'll forgive, but Opera, I don't know about that guy. But you look at the ratios; they are pretty the same. 3-2-4 here, and then a 2-3-4. So just depending on if you like the 7 or the 8 a little bit more. I do think that the 5-7 Yamato is a really great card. I know it's not a Big Mom's Pirate, so it is not very searchable in the mono yellow. But honestly, just having a card that you get to play on odd curve is fantastic because we just pretty much have this in Shirahoshi more or less for the deck. So I think that's just a big boon for the list as well. And I don't know, it's cool to see yellow. I think the star decks, the yellow star deck helped the deck more than like the black star deck helped out black. So there are some just good, honestly, just these two cards, they're just fantastic for it. So there we have both their list. And to talk about Star Deck Yamato, we do have the Star Deck Yamato as it is. There are just some really good pieces for it. And in general, the Star Deck in general is just really, really nice of a product. I really like this leader. I think this Yamato leader is fantastic. It's just like a generically good yellow leader, which the other two I think are a little bit more dependent on like the Charlotte Linen. You can play the 10 drop in this one, obviously, but just the fact that you are able to use this to like get 6k on your opponent's turn. You do have to be at 2 or less life, but again, 6k leaders are really good in this game, even if it's just conditionally with having a Dawn underneath it. But that helps you out a lot. And even if you play the 10 drop, it just means you wouldn't have enough time to, like, you wouldn't be able to use the Dawn underneath it anyways. So I do like the Linlin. I do max out copies in my list. So also real quick, this is Ryan's list and this is Zachary's list. So of the two, I would probably closer a little bit to Zachary for the ones I've been testing, but I think both are strong. You do have to be careful again because you are putting a bunch of Wano cards, which can hurt the ratios for your Big Mom Pirates cards. But 4 arrows I think is a little bit too much. I think it's a great card, but you probably play it at like 3 or 4, 2 or 3, maybe not 4 for this. And I still don't know how I feel about this card. I feel like sometimes like, oh, it's great, and then other times it's just terrible. So, but you are always wanting to take hits with this leader pretty quickly because you want to go down to 2 as soon as possible so you can start getting that extra defense, which is kind of neat. And that also just means obviously you get more triggers off your life, as well as like getting Cracker into its double attack is really good there. So again, this is Ryan's list, and then looking a little bit more at Zachary's list, Zachariah. My apologies, Zachariah's list. We do have the smoothie, which I'm running in my list, but I might change this. The fact that you can use this to be a 7k swing, just another card that you get to trigger off your life, as well as just the advantage that you're able to get from just all of this. So I think this is a fine card for the deck, so maybe I need to add that to my own. I do like playing the 4-6 into this deck too, just because again, another opera, that's crazy. But being able to play 4-6 means you're really good against Newgate because on curve it's great and it trades favorably with stuff. I think a lot of decks do play on tempo, so they don't have time to attach additional Dawn, at least in the early game, to try to attack over things. But Yamato, fantastic. 7-drop Linlin is fantastic. I think a 4-4 split here is really aggressive, or maybe not aggressive, but just a little greedy. I think it's really greedy for it, but there's that. But yeah, the 7-drop Linlin is just fantastic in this leader. It's especially since, again, I really do believe that Yamato is better going first in this, so being able to take advantage of that and being able to play this on curve more consistently helps the deck out amazingly. So obviously a turn 1 pudding into a turn 2 Perez, turn 3 Yamato into turn 4 Charlotte Linlin, that just feels fantastic. You're in a really good spot. It means it's tough for them because, if you attack with Perez, they don't want to attack into it because you get a card when it gets popped. Yamato's is really hard to attack into, and then after that, Linlin is even harder, and you get either a heal or you get to deal some damage, and that's great for you. So there we go there. But those are the lists there. Congratulations to Ryan and Zachariah for their finishes. And that is it for my video here. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Be on the lookout for future tournaments for OP03. I'll probably do like one more before OP04 comes out, another box tournament. So we'll see you in those ones. And again, I really appreciate all the turnout and support for these. They've been really, really fun. So that's going to be it. Make sure also to follow Risu on YouTube if you haven't already. Makes fantastic content, and I really do appreciate his company during the commentary for these. And that's going to be it for me. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.